Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from who do well. Peace and salutations to 144,000, the rest of the elect. Until you, I say shalom. Coming to you back with another Let's Through the Spirit. I'm entitled this one, Woe unto you that lost patience. Because now we see that a lot of these Israelites and know that they're Israelites that are claiming to be in the truth, that ultimately have changed up their doctrine to be more world friendly, to attract a lot more followers, because the truth isn't going to be attractive to majority of our people, to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the true Israelites. But the elect, they don't need no gimmicks to be able to understand this truth. They don't need no Hebrew rap battles, debates, being on podcasters with these left-handed people, selling t-shirts and selling prayers and breakdowns and all manners of madness that these other Israelite camps are doing. Because really, the real reason why they're selling out to Esau, Edom, get into 501c3, get in the bag, because they want their constellation on this side. They want to be comfortable here. And a lot of them, now that they've gotten the bag, now they're in that spirit of not wanting to get out of here because they're comfortable. You just give Jake, a couple $100,000, a Hellcat, one bedroom apartment, and he's happy. He's chilling. Now he's forgotten that he's in captivity. He's forgotten that he's in Babylon the Great, and ultimately he's forgotten that this place is about to be done away with. It's about to pass away. America's going to be destroyed, Babylon the Great, by thermonuclear missiles. But yet you have all these sellouts, these Christian churches, these Israelite camps that know that they're Israelites but aren't teaching the 100% truth. Yeah, they're teaching Israel about their true heritage, about who Esau, Edom is, the self-proclaimed white man. But that's as deep as it goes. They're not teaching about the MOTB, which is the RFID micro C-HIP. They're not teaching about Jacob's trouble. They, a lot of them are, we're not going to have to go through any trials and tribulations to the kingdom of heaven. They're teaching that America is not going to be destroyed. That Yahushua is not going to come back in his lifetime. And they're teaching all these manners of madness to attract all these followers, because they're trying to be world friendly so they could get the bag, especially the women. They're not even teaching about Isaiah 4:1. They're teaching that you could only have one wife. So that's another factor that attracts all these 2/3 Israelites. But really, they're Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is allowing them to get all those followers, all that clout, all that fame, all that money, because since they don't want to wait on Yahushai, it's like, okay, here, you can have your consolation on this side. But when Esau, Edom comes down with that great wrath, when he comes down with that persecution, when he takes all your money away, when he crashes the system, they're not going to be defended in that day, because they ain't wait on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to exalt them in due time. This is Sirach chapter 2, also known as Ecclesiasticus, and verse 14. And it reads, Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? So that's why you see all these other camps, the IUICs, the ISUPKs, the Sakaris, the Genesis changing up their doctrine. Because it's like, okay, here, because a lot of them, they were teaching the truth, back then. And then they changed it up, because really they're not in the spirit of being long-suffering. They don't, a lot of them, okay, they probably believed in the truth at once, and it fell out and they sold out, because they don't believe that Yahushai is going to come back in his lifetime. And a lot of them don't believe at all. They think that he's never going to make his second coming. So they were like, man, fuck it. We're not waiting on Yahweh Shai. We're going to sell out. We're going to get the bag so we could be comfortable here because the system is going to keep on going. But really, they're in a snare in the trap, because Yahweh Bashmiel Shai wants these 2/3 Israelite camps to be in that spirit of, okay, you don't want to wait. Then, okay, here goes a bag. Sell out the Esau, eat them, get the 501c3. But what's going to happen when Yahweh Bashmiel Shai crashes the system? What's going to happen when all hell breaks loose? These Israelites that lost patience, they couldn't wait on Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. The Lord's going to visit them. He's not going to visit them with deliverance and salvation. He's not going to visit them with keeping them when all hell's breaking loose. No, he's going to show, he's going to show them the judgment of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. What happens to those who don't want to wait on Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is going to be destruction. This is Luke chapter 6 and verse 24. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. And okay, you wanted to get the bag now. You couldn't wait on Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. You had to go on these podcasts. You had to sell out the Esau, eat them. You came in with that briefcase. Okay, if you teach this, if you teach that, if you stop teaching the true names of the Heavenly Father and the only begotten Son, we'll give you this bag. If you teach that the MOTB isn't the micro CHIP, here goes another bag. You teach that Gentiles can make it. Oh, here goes another bag. But what are they ultimately doing? They're taking away from the scriptures. They're adding on to the scriptures. And like it says in the last chapter of Revelation chapter 22, okay, you taking away from the scriptures and you adding on to them. These plagues going to be added onto you. So that's what these Israelite camps that are teaching false doctrine and these Christian churches have coming to them, because they couldn't wait on Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. They couldn't wait on the Heavenly Father to bring Esau, eat him down, to bring the so-called white man down, and wait till the kingdom of heaven. That's when the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, the governing body, is going to get their glory. We're not meant to get our glory on this side and get all this fame and clout, because this world is corrupted. Why the hell would you want glory and fame in a corrupted, wicked ass world that only glorifies sin and degenerate behavior? Verse 25, Luke 6 and 25. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. And that's why majority of these 2/3 Israelite camps, these Christian churches, they don't want to leave Babylon the Great. They don't want to leave America, because they're chilling. They're comfortable. They're not really going through trials and tribulations like that, because that's another reason too. They were going through whatever hell they were going through. And even though, it don't matter how much money you got, we're still under the curses. But they're trying to lessen that blow. It's like, oh shit, I'm in captivity. Esau Edom is over me. Or here, let me sell out so I could get a bag, so I could drive this Corvette and get this Hellcat. That's why Jake is doing it, because they don't want to suffer. They don't want to endure to the end. So like, man, fuck it. I don't want to wait on Yahweh Bashmiel. I'm going to just sell out. It says, for ye shall hunger. So right now they may be full. They may be eating, steak and A5 Wagyu steak and, the best of the lamb and whatever Jake is eating. That is, top shelf, for the lack of better words. It says, woe unto you to laugh now. But, right now they laughing, they cracking jokes, calling the true men of the Lord, the true prophets, grapists and bums and this and that. It says, for ye shall mourn and weep. So right now they laughing, they crackling and cracking all these jokes, teaching false doctrine. But very soon the roles are going to be reversed, because right now they're in the spirit of mirth, in the house of mirth. And the elect, they're going to be in the spirit of mourning, like getting the hell up out of here, not wanting to stay here forever. But those roles are about to be reversed very soon. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. And that's right. Better is the end of a thing. And what do we want the end? To come to the end is Babylon the Great America. Esau, being in rulership. Is being in hell, being in these bodies. But yeah, Jake wants to stay in America, Babylon the Great. They want Esau, Edom to continue ruling over them. They want to continue in these corrupted chains of darkness in these bodies. So that's why Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is going to have to put to death majority of our people. Because they think that, oh, shit, this is good. This is good living. Going to work, paying taxes, eating McDonald's, and breathing chemtrails in, and drinking plastic and metals in your water. That's good to Jake. Constantly catching all these sicknesses that Esau, Edom is spraying in the air. That's good to Jake. But that's why Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is about to put these 2/3 to death, because they just want to continue living here in hell. This is Psalms 37 and verse 7. Rest in the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospered in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. And that's why a lot of Jake wants to sell out. They want to get the bag now, because like it says in Psalm 73, they envy the wicked. They see that Esau, Edom has the mansions and the exotic cars and the flashy things in the life. Like that saying, all everything that shines isn't gold. But yet Jake sees all the flashiness. Look how Esau Edom's winning. Look at his bag. Of course he's winning. He's in his blessing. He's in his kingdom. I ain't gonna say of heaven, but he's in his kingdom. But yet Jake wants to replicate that. They want to build a kingdom inside a kingdom instead of waiting on Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. That's why it says rest in the Lord. We're gonna wait patiently on Yahweh Bashmiel Shai to bring this devil down, to destroy the 2/3 of our people, and Lord willing to be a part of that number. Beam us up and get changed into those new bodies where we're going to have the laws, statutes, commandments written in our inward parts, because we know that we're not going to have it on this side. All these things that we have are temporary, but yet here you have Jake moving like we're going to be here forever, because they see how Esau Edom is winning. Verse 38, cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. Verse 9, for evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, they shall inherit the earth. So majority of our people, they're in that Esau Edom syndrome. They want to sell their birthright. They want to give it up, just like Esau. But Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is not going to allow. He's not going to allow Jake to be a loser. No matter how hard Jake tries to lose, it's not going to happen. Even Diddy, the Kanyes, the Jay-Z's, all these wicked ass Jakes, these celebrities, Denzel Washington's, even they're going to be in the kingdom of heaven in their right mind, but they're going to have their head down, along with these other Israelites that are teaching false doctrine, that have sold out, that fell away, that knew the Lord's will, but did otherwise. Even they are going to be in the kingdom of heaven, but they're going to have that shame. They're going to have their head down for who knows how long. And they're going to remember, that they, knew what they were doing, but yet, they chose to do otherwise. This is Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 25. The Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. Yeah, and that's going into the elect. Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is going to be good unto the elect, because they're waiting patiently on Yahweh Shai's second coming, waiting patiently, to bring Esau Edom down. They're waiting patiently on the prophecies, like it says in Habakkuk chapter 2. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come to pass. And these prophecies are coming to pass, but yet here you have these 2/3 Jakes, these other Israelite camps. Moving like the prophecies aren't moving. Moving like the MOTB is not right around the corner. Moving like all hell's not about to break loose. So they're not seeking Yahweh. They're not seeking Yahweh by Shemiel Shai. Verse 26, it is good that a man shall both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord Yahweh by Shemiel Shai. And a lot of these other Israelite camps, these 2/3 Israelites that know they're in the truth, but are going off, they're going to hoping that day, damn, I should have waited on Yahweh by Shemiel Shai. Damn, I should have waited, for the kingdom of heaven. Damn, I should have waited for Esau Edom to be brought down, not join hand in hand with him. This is Luke chapter 12 and verse 43. And it reads, blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. And that's going to be the elect. The elect are going to be doing the will of Yahweh by Shemiel Shai until the end. Not, I'm going to do it for a couple years and I'm going to sell out because I couldn't wait. Verse 44, of a truth I say unto you that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. And that's what's coming unto the elect, starting with the 144,000, the rest of the large multitude. That's what they have coming because they're going to wait on Yahweh by Shemiel Shai, not, settle down for this filth that we call America, Babylon the Great, being ran by the so-called white man, Eve over you and all Mo's walking around, this shit should piss you off. Verse 45, but if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the manservants and maidens, and to eat and drink and to be drunken. And that's what these other Israelite camps are doing. They're like, man, I'm tired of waiting on Yahweh Shai. It's been too long. He didn't come back last year. But that's another thing too. They're not measuring the times diligently. They're not seeing what's happening around the world and tying it to the scriptures because they're just, wiggling around, not giving a damn of what the hell's going on. Just up and about, trying to do their own thing. So when Yahweh by Shemiel Shai finally lets the four winds loose, they're going to be like, damn, I should have been doing the Lord's will. I should have been out there warning the sheep. I shouldn't have been selling out, changing up the breakdowns. Verse 46, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. So here, these Israelites that know that they're Israelites, they know the truth. They know that a lot of them even know the breakdowns, but yet they're teaching otherwise because once you sell out to Esau Edom, you got to teach what he tells you to teach. You can't teach the true names no more. You can't teach that the MOTB is the micro-CHIP. You can't. Now it's to the point where you could teach that heathens can make it, that salvation is open unto everybody. But how? The scripture says otherwise, but that's letting you know that these other camps have sold out. They took the bag because ultimately they never had the faith. They never really believed that Yahweh Shai is going to come back in his lifetime, that America is going to be destroyed. So they're not on the watchtower. They're not worried about prophecy. Verse 47, and that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither that according to his will shall be beaten with many stripes. And a lot of these other Israelite camps, they know the Lord's will. They know that ultimately we're supposed to go out there and prophesy the destruction, the downfall of Esau, Edom, the destruction and the downfall of Babylon, the great America, to prophesy about Jacob's trouble, to warn Jake, to repent and get right before all hell breaks loose, to teach the true names, to teach the proper breakdown of the MOTB, which is the RFID micro-CHIP. But yet, these other Israelite camps, they're not doing that. That they know what they're supposed to teach, but they're not doing it no more. They sold out, they took the bag. Verse 48, but he that kneweth not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required, and to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. So these other 2/3 Jakes that, some of them may don't know that they're Israelites, but that's as deep as it goes. But the rest of the Jakes, they aren't in the truth. They're going to be beating with less stripes. They're not going to be judged as hardly as those who were given the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, who were given the truth. They were given the proper breakdowns of the names, the proper breakdowns of the prophecies, but yet, they chose to sell out. They chose to take the bag. So they're going to get their ass whooped. They're going to get their ass kicked for not teaching the 100% truth. This is James chapter 5 and verse 7. Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Verse 8. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. And only the elect are going to be in the spirit of hastening the day, waiting on Yahushua to come back and judge this devil, judge Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, bring his kingdom down, destroy America, Babylon the Great, by the way of thermonuclear missiles, and ultimately to be delivered out of here, to be delivered out of Babylon the Great and wherever Jake is scattered, and be changed to the new bodies. But only the elect are going to be in that mindset, while the rest of these 2/3 Israelite camps, these other Jakes that know the truth, but are doing, a merchandise out of the Lord's house, they're not going to be in the spirit of being patient. They're going to be in that Esau, Edom spirit. Give me some a morsel of meat because I'm about to faint. That's the spirit that these other Israelite camps are in. And ultimately, when that charagma, the MOTB, gets made presented, they're going to sell out. They're going to fold because they're going to be like, no, I'm going to take it. I don't want to wait. I don't want to die. I don't want to get beheaded. That's the spirit that these other Israelite camps are in. So Yahweh Shemel Shai is about to make an example out of these camps that sold out, that lost patience, that took the bag. But that's pretty much the point. I pray that this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from and who do well. Peace and salutations to 144,000, the rest of the elect. Unto you I say Shalom.